Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here. Today, we are going to break down the mastery skill system in New World, kind of go through what it looks like to spend your points in there, how you'll be obtaining your key passives at the end, and we're going to go over a little bit of some particular things that you might want to know about the mastery skill trees. So first and foremost, in New World, progression is linked to each unique weapon as opposed to specific classes. So if you're used to doing, your class-specific MMOs, this is more like ESO, but without the skill trees or the class trees. You will pick up a weapon and level it. You will level to level 20. That is max level. If you want to level a certain weapon tree, you just simply equip the weapon. Here are some quick facts about the weapon skill trees in New World. Bordy, take it away.
Yeah, man. So the max level for each weapon is 20. And as you progress towards the max level weapon, you'll earn 19 points that you can apply between two of the weapon skill trees. So during the progression, you're going to be forced to make choices because each weapon has 38 nodes between the two skill trees. So each tree has 19 nodes. So that's 38 total between the two, right? So you can't allocate all of your points to both sides of the tree. So you're going to have to make choices as to whether you want to put points into the left side of the tree or the right side of the tree or a combination of both. And then you have to put a certain amount of points in there to be able to obtain your key passive. So here it says it's important to note that it takes 10 points to open up the last node in the tree. And that allows you to access one of the end passives for each weapon.
Right. You will not obviously get to choose both key passives. You'll have to pick between one. Weapon skill trees are made up of both passives and active skill trees. All active skills progress linear, meaning you will have to unlock the node before you can access the following node. Passive skills are open based on the amount of points spent in that skill tree. It is important to note that points are isolated to that side of the skill tree. So if you're in the Berserker tree, you can only progress towards the end skill of the Berserker. Spinning skill trees will not help you progress in the other tree. Some important things to note, Bordy, that we kind of figured out or broken down here. Sometimes in these skill trees, there will be like a skill that you have to choose to progress on. Another thing, Bordy, that we constantly get questions about, your passives for those weapons. Say you have your two weapons, the back bar, the one that you're not that you don't currently have equipped. Those passives do not apply. So you will immediately switch to whatever weapon it is you want to yield, and then you only get the passives from that weapon.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, that is a pretty good point to bring up because we do get asked that all the time. And yes, if you have your passives on your back bar, those don't apply whenever you have your weapon equipped. So that's very, very key. I think that a lot of people get confused about that. And I think if they did that, it would become a little bit hard to balance, right? If you started having your back bar weapon passives equipped, it would start to get a little bit hard to balance because there would be some broken things in there that whenever you couple that with some other weapons, it would be really, really hard to obtain a really good balance if they had those active all the time on your back bar. So that is very important to note for sure.
Yes. One of the things, that's interesting to think about, Bordy, is how they can progress forward. Obviously, they can continue to add more weapons, but I think they'll always keep it at two weapons. Two weapons feels good. I think they do really want a minimal approach to combat, just like, very movement, expressive, dodging, blocking, heavy combat with a few abilities that kind of complement, whatever play style you want or whatever build you want. So, Bordy, one of the things I was thinking that we could talk about a little bit while we close this up is how they can progress as the game goes on. Potentially maybe adding an extra skill tree to each weapon. Then you would have 3 choices you could choose from, potentially. I think that would be a cool one. WoW started off with 3, and I think it still continues to have that where you're choosing between 3 subclasses within the weapon. I think that would be cool. What are some other things that you can think of, Bordy, that they could do in the future to kind of expand upon the weapon mastery system?
Yeah, so the obvious one is just adding new weapons, right? I do like your idea of adding a new branch to the tree. So instead of adding new abilities to one side or the other side, you just add a whole new branch. So you'd have three essential skill trees you could pick from each weapon. That would be kind of nice. I think that would be a good addition, give players a lot more options to choose from, and you're forced to make more choices there. So then it diversifies builds even more. And you and I both are big fans of having a large diversity in builds whenever you have an MMO, instead of these cookie cutter meta builds that we tend to fall into. And that's always going to to happen in MMO regardless, but it is nice to have that kind of diversification. So I really like that idea, Red. I personally like the 2 weapons, the 3 active abilities, because as you said before, the game really relies on player skill. You're dodging, you're blocking, you're aiming. It's very action oriented, and you have 6 active abilities to choose from as you swap bars. It's unlike any other MMO in that you have this enormous active skill bar, and even whenever you can switch back and forth between abilities, even then like ESO, it's almost more of a minimalistic approach compared to a lot of MMOs where you have like 5 or 6. I can't remember. We played so much ESO back in the day, but it's been so long. But you don't have a ton on your bar. But a lot of MMOs, man, you have like 10 or 12 active abilities. I hope New World doesn't ever go down that route, because this is one of the things that pushes them into more of a niche world, is their combat and only the 3 active abilities on each bar. And personally, I think that is a sweet spot, and I like that. So I hope they don't go that route. I would much rather see what you just mentioned with the 3 trees with more options, and then obviously the addition of new weapons. Those are probably the easiest and probably the 2 biggest that I can see that they could iterate upon the system even more in the future.
Yeah, because, you know, having that power of choice, and I think maybe sometimes the illusion of choice can really make it interesting for people to build out their characters. And I like the idea that you can only choose 3 active skills. You only have so many skill points to choose. The limitations of the attribute system, and they've added those nodes to your character build. So now you have to, you push up to 50 or 100 or 150 to get those passives. Another thing, Bordy, that kind of ties into all these weapon mastery trees are your gems and your weapons. And it can kind of change the way your weapon behaves, change the stat in which the weapon damage scales off of. So I think they're going a great route, or they're doing a great thing by again, widening the amount of choices a player has to make, but still keeping combat simple with these mastery trees and only allowing you to unlock so many things.
Yep, absolutely. I really enjoy the way that they have it laid out right now. And I think they're at the sweet spot now. Before they had 3 weapons previous. If you're just now joining in on the conversation of New World and you're just now starting to follow the game, it's kind of what this series is for, kind of an introductory to how these mastery trees work for you guys that are just now kind of getting introduced to the game. But before, there was 3 weapons you could choose from. And in my opinion, Red, that was too many. Yeah. The 2 is good. The 6 active abilities between the 2, really good. I think they're where they need to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Guys, if you want to mess around with the mastery skill trees, we have them all over there at New World Fans. You can look at them, or you can use the builder and actually build out your character. We have a ton of builds over there right now. The voting system's up, so we've been able to read a lot of guides over there that people have been writing for different builds, and I think that's sick. If you want to go check those out, do that over there at New World Fans. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.